Good morning from Naples, Florida. This is a question I'm responding to that I got in a DM about the sun and sunscreen and sun exposure and how to get the most out of the sun. I first got into this circadian rhythm stuff about 10 years ago because I was dealing with a very significant health issue that could have taken my life, and I'll get into that sometime if you want me to. But I think sun avoidance in our modern world is one of the biggest things that's destroying the health, particularly of younger people that are spending so much time inside in front of screens. The sun literally controls every system in your body, okay? That's why I've redesigned my life to spend as much time outside as I possibly can. And the problem with the modern zoo human is they only go outside on a weekend at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 1 o'clock in the afternoon to the beach, and they burn. There's studies now that show, and I'll link them in here, that show that sun avoidance is the equivalent of smoking cigarettes. And, low vitamin D is a massive factor when it comes to all health issues. Disclaimer. This is not health advice or medical advice. This is for information purposes only. I'm not giving you any kind of medical advice. You should always consult your doctor before doing anything, including getting out of bed. But that being said, so basically the morning sun right now, I spend the majority of my time outside in the morning. That builds your solar callus, so that prepares your skin for the afternoon part of the sun, okay? The afternoon sun is where you make your vitamin D. That's where you've got to be, if you live near the equator, you don't want to be spending 4 or 5 hours in the direct sun when you live on the equator. But for most people that live away from the equator, if you spend a good time in the morning, you're going to be able to spend a pretty good chunk in the afternoon. And if you look at most traditional cultures, like what's Latin culture, they usually have a siesta at the hottest time of the afternoon, where they go lay down under a tree and take a nap, right? They do most of their hard work in the mornings and the evenings. So the morning sun prepares your skin for the afternoon sun, and the evening sun gets you ready for sleep, and then it also helps heal your skin. So the more, and I'm Scottish of descent, and I tan really, even people that get pink, if they get more morning sun, they will actually start to tan. Most people just haven't spent enough time outside in the sun in the morning to get that benefit. So I do all my computer work, all my podcasts that I do, all my coaching that I do outside. Luckily here we have a pretty nice outside area, so we set up our computer work out here for the medical doctor I work for, and for all the people I coach. I do all my work outside, and so I try to spend as little time inside as possible. And in the afternoon, if I start getting too hot, I just go in the shade. As for your question on sunscreen, this is not medical advice, but sunscreen is completely and utterly useless, and I think it causes more health issues, in my opinion, than it solves. One, it blocks your ability to make vitamin D. They just had a huge recall on one of the major sunscreen companies because it had cancer-causing agents in the cream that you're basically directly putting into your bloodstream. Your body has built-in sunscreen that's called a tan. And one of the things, too, that you want to avoid is when you're outside. If you're driving in a car and you can't see, or if you want to look cool every once in a while and wear your sunglasses, that's fine. You want to be, have your top G glasses on from time to time, that's fine. But you want to make sure you get plenty of light in your eyes without sunglasses, because sunglasses tell your brain it's nighttime out, okay? And your body's not going to produce all the defense mechanisms that it has for the afternoon sun. The afternoon sun is a stressor, which makes vitamin D. So if you're going out, on the beach and you're laying out to get a tan, don't wear sunglasses, because your brain's going to think it's nighttime, okay? And then the more evening sun and the morning sun you get, you're not going to get the sun damage that all these people complain about because you're going to get more red part of the spectrum, and that's the healing part. If you go to like a dermatologist or like a plastic surgeon, these women that have wrinkles and their skin's aged, they will put red light directly on their face. You get that for free from the morning and evening sun. So that's the reason why a lot of people's skin doesn't age really well, is because they only get the UV, right? And the UV is important, but you don't need as much of the UV depending on where you live. The D-Minder app is really good. It's a simple app. It's free, that basically tracks how much UV you're making and how much UV you need. You want to get your vitamin D levels, I would say for most people, above 30 for sure, maybe 50. If you have an autoimmune disease, you want to get them as high as 70. And that's pretty easy to do. And, like here in Florida, in the middle of summer, you're making almost 200 IUs of vitamin D a minute. So one of the biggest scams of all time, along with telling people to eat plants and all sorts of other stuff, is the sun avoidance, because it literally destroys your health. The sun controls your blood pressure. It helps control your blood sugar. It helps regulate your hormones. You produce nitric oxide, which basically helps with blood vessels, and it helps with getting an erection. Basically nitric oxide is Viagra. So if you want free Viagra, get your ass outside, and you'll notice your sexual function will dramatically improve. Your blood pressure will get better. Your health, your mood and well-being. It controls serotonin and helps regulate dopamine. All these things are directly related to sun exposure. And I can't tell you the number of kids that I've trained in the last 10 years since I started taking circadian rhythm seriously, that came to me. They were absolutely depressed. And once they started wearing some blue blockers at night and started getting out in the morning and started getting outside, even 10, 15 minute walks a couple times a day, all of a sudden their depression and their anxiety goes away. Just looking at pictures of nature improves your lowers anxiety and gives you calm. So it helps calm you. So the more time you can spend outside, if you're a programmer, or I think you're a programmer, if you work on the computer a lot, set out an outside desk, out on a patio or something, and try and do your computer work outside where you're getting natural light with your feet on the ground, so you're grounded, you're getting electrons from the earth, instead of sitting inside in your house all day in front of the screen. Do your work on your phone outside. If you watch, look at Andrew Tate, he's spending the majority of his time is outside. He's outside on yachts, he's outside doing stuff, so most of these guys are having fun outside. And that's one of the reasons they're doing so well, is because the more time you spend outside, the better you're going to feel, the better you're going to be. So there's a few thoughts for you. I hope that helped. Let me know if you have any more questions.